Okay, well, I do have a Shih Tzu, a little
Okay.
Shih Tzu, and his skin is very sensitive.
Uh-huh.
So one of my questions is, or what I look for is, are the supplements designed for individual dogs? I mean, I guess that would make it like a big array of
No, it's a
all
great
these
question because
supplements.
I get that. Yeah, I get that question all the time, especially because of our branding, right? When you look at our branding, you see a lot of the bully breeds and more of the bigger breeds, right? But I get this question all the time when I'm out doing meet and greets, and so we're in 11 states now, coast to coast, so we do wholesale and
Oh wow.
retail. So I get questions all the time from the store owners, from customers, and then from retail customers as well. They'll say, hey, can my Chihuahua take your supplements? Can my Shih Tzu take your supplements? Can my poodle take your supplements? My question back to them is, are they carnivores? And the answer is,
Sure.
of course, right? Of course.
Yeah.
So they are carnivores. So they not only survive, but they thrive on organ meats, muscle meats, bones, bone marrow, whole eggs, right? They thrive on that. They just obviously eat different servings. So when you look at our products, they enhance any type of commercial feed, raw feed, or a combination of
Mhm.
both. So they mix right in to any type of feed. And when I started this company, that's where I saw this void. Okay. When you look at the commercial feed canine industry, it makes the human processed food look like it's top shelf. It's pretty bad. Okay.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's all about just like humans, when you see external issues, hot spots, ear issues, gum issues, teeth issues,
Right.
digestive issues, it's all engine lights. Okay. And that's mapping back to the immune system. So the immune system, when you had these, I call them engine lights, right? When you had these engine lights come on, it's very simple. It's inflammation. Inflammation
Yeah, that's
is
true.
the
Yeah.
gateway to disease. Okay. So if you keep driving that vehicle with the engine lights blinking and eventually the engine lights staying on, what happens? We don't need a crystal ball to know that something's going to happen, right? It's going to fall apart. You
Sure.
can't keep driving down a
Sure.
one-way street the wrong way and not expect a head-on collision. So these are all engine lights, and it maps back to the immune system. So I looked at the industry and I said, man, there's a big void here with the processed food, with the commercial food industry. And then also, because I've been feeding raw for 25 years, right? My dogs, animal protein, animal fat. But there was
Okay.
also, I needed to create products that I would use because I don't feed commercial feed, right? So I needed to create products that I actually would use too. So I added in digestive enzymes. So the name of the game
Okay.
here in
Okay.
nutrition is this. It's so simple, right? It's what's the most dense, nutrient dense foods for a carnivore? It's animal protein, animal fat, especially the beef and the red meat. Okay. Then how do you make it the most bioavailable, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like a business. You might be grossing $10 million, but if you're only netting 30,000, then there's not much value in that business, right? It's what do you net? What do
Sure.
you bring home? So what do you actually consume and utilize? That's the other part of this game, right? So I wanted to make sure I fit both of those voids. So your Shih Tzu, right? If you're feeding them commercial feed, they're not only going to be not absorbing enough nutrients most of the time,
Mhm.
but there's also some ingredients in some of these commercial feed that actually block nutrients. Okay, so
Yeah, because I noticed that he'll lick his paws a
yeah.
lot. He's
Mhm.
starting to lick his paws a lot, and he didn't used to do that. So that's concerning to me. That's
Well, it's
telling me that
it's
there's
mapping
something
back.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the body's
allergic.
trying to, so the body's consuming what it reads as foreign, okay? For
Hmm.
whatever that is, whatever those particular ingredients are, or that ingredient is, the body's reading it as it's foreign. How do we get rid of this, right? And
Yeah.
how you get rid of it, or how the body addresses it, is either chronic inflammation or acute inflammation. Now, acute inflammation
Hmm.
is you sprain your ankle, it swells up, right? It's protecting, it's lubricating, right? It's
Right.
putting a barrier around this to try and do something right now. But the chronic, right? That's that ongoing. And I relate it to people because people can relate. So IBS, right? Irritable bowel syndrome. That's chronic inflammation. You can put whatever medical term you want on it. You could give us all the studies, all this. Look, at the end of the day, the answer is it's chronic inflammation that your body's reading poisons, and it's trying to get rid of these poisons. And once it figures out how to get rid of it, you replace it with more, right? That's chronic.
Right.
Right? You just keep replacing it with more.
It's
so
true.
it's like putting fuel in your car and you throw in sand. Okay. So now
what's going to happen?
You're going to fill your car up again and throw more sand. Okay. You're going to fill. And then after a while, what's going to happen? Things
can't
are going to
take it. Yeah.
rust. It's going to break down because it's reading it as it's not supposed to be there. That's how simple this game is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because at the end of the day, I always tell people, listen, I don't care what it is, whether we're talking about canine supplements or we are talking about flat screen TVs or we are talking about Lamborghinis. I don't care what we're talking about. Whoever is representing that product or that situation, if they can't explain it in layman's terms, they either don't know what they're talking about or there's a different agenda, right? They're selling you something. They're smoking mirrors. Right. That's why I approach this as very simple.
It's a money grab,
I think in simple terms, so I share in simple terms. And this is inflammation, engine lights that you're either addressing or you're not. And either way, you're going to get those results. So when they're licking the paws, it's the body's reading it as poisons, as foreign. This doesn't belong here. How do we get that out of there?
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.